KM Activities, your home for the Comets. I'm Joel McCall, and we want to thank KM Telecom for providing our internet as well as being our major sponsor for all interviews here on KM Activities. Across from me is Jeremy Gunderson. He is the head coach for the Dodge County Wildcat girls hockey team, who actually already played. I can't believe you guys had your first game already. That was last night. But first of all, Coach, thank you very much for settling in with me and doing this interview. Appreciate it very much.
You bet. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Well, let's go back to last night then. You guys already won a game. So you had a game last night, beat New Prague, right, 5-2. And what I looked at it was, I think you had 3 goals in the third period. So it was tight throughout the first 2, and then I got a few goals late to win the game. Tell me a little bit about it and how the season started.
Yeah, the season started great. I mean, the girls had kind of started back in our preseason. We took a trip to Duluth, played 3 really good teams, and kind of used it as a script rehearsal to get ready for this game and this contest. And then we had Albert Lee in here last Saturday for a scrimmage where we worked on special teams, and we knew that a lot of, this is year 14 for me, and I've seen us a lot of times struggle early on special teams, and lately when you've really worked on them, we've won some big games just on that alone. And our JV went in, played very good. They got the win over at New Prague, and then varsity, like I said, the girls played great. I mean, we kind of controlled the game for the most part, had some good chances, just missed the net, and third period we came alive. We made some adjustments between periods, and the girls responded well, and we scored one 5-on-5 goal, and then we actually scored a shorthanded goal, special teams goal, and then an empty net goal at the end of the game. So
yeah, that's awesome. And I think it was Elizabeth Fagerlund.
Fagerlund, yep.
Did I say that correctly? She had 2 goals for you.
Yep, she had the first 2 of the game. She had walked the blue line like we worked on in practice, and instead of going to her forehand, though, she brought it to her backhand, and I've never seen a defenseman really score from the blue line on her backhand, but that was the first, so it was good. She actually threw a pretty good rocket on her backhand in, and good screen traffic in front. The goalie never saw it and beat her upper corner. So that was the first, and then again the second goal, she got one from the point, walked in, and real good, nice snapshot upper corner. So
excellent, yeah. So she started you off, and then like I said, 3 in the third period. Last year you're 11, 12, and 2, I think, is what I ended up finding. But you only had 4 seniors, so you should be welcoming back a large group of experienced hockey players.
Yeah. Last year after the playoffs were done, we ended up making an okay run. We finished 500, which. Again, with a young team, and we play a hard schedule. I mean, we, in comparison with that schedule, we, if we were playing down here in the Big 9 conference, for example, Northfield was the Big 9 champions. They swept everybody. They went undefeated in the Big 9. We beat Northfield 3-1 handily, at our place. We outshot them 2-1. We had a higher seed. Owatonna was in either second or third seed, and both times we played them, we, shut them out. Shots were like 55-4. So, in comparison and contrast, like I tell the kids, we play a very hard schedule, so records really don't matter because of, again, the skill development. College coaches really want to watch you play the higher-end teams, and they want to compare apples to apples as far as especially the recruiting process. So
yeah, for sure. What's been going on in the off-season then? What do you ask these girls to do to get ready for another hockey year?
Well, we've got a lot of multi-sport athletes, which is good. It gets them different friends. It works a different muscle core, makes their brain think differently in different situational things. Kids are always in the weight room, which is good. I mean, we work with Travis here, does a great job here in Casa Manorville at the weight room, and he puts together a good program, and the kids work really well for him. June and July, we run our summer camp under the State High School League rules where we can work with the kids in that portion. We usually have 4 scrimmage fests in the summer where we can start playing kids, see what we've got coming up, and just giving those young kids a lot more experience then, because, again, we don't really worry about wins and losses in the summer and more about just development and getting these kids, to play a little bit faster and challenge them a little bit. So
yeah, and then you've had, as you mentioned, some scrimmages and whatnot too. So you guys are starting to get into that season shape, I suppose. But does it take a little while? I mean, just because the kids are playing in different sports to get their feet underneath them and skate again?
Oh yeah, I mean, volleyball went deep. We've had other kids from other sports, so it was just kind of been patched in since day one. I mean, we had our first game, but we still have some key injuries. Some of our better players and returning players aren't in the lineup yet, so we'll probably go in this game a little short. I usually see us having 3 very deep lines and 6D. We're probably going in with 2 lines this Friday, 4D. So, I mean, we're a little banged up, and again, that's the weight room stuff, and there's stuff, in scrimmages and just the grind of the early season stuff. But Lindy Schubert, one of our top scorers, she tore her ACL in spring in track, and had surgery, so we'll get her back later in the year, so that'll be a big pickup. So how I see things for us is we get these younger kids a lot of experience. keep working on our systems, teach them what the right things to do, and then as all these other kids start falling back in lineup, we're only going to be stronger and deeper. So
Yeah, it'd be nice to have your full bench, definitely once you get to that mid-season. And a couple girls that I wanted to ask about. Kennedy Krause, I
Yep.
say that correctly. She has 8 goals and 11 assists last year for you. She's one of your top scorers. And obviously, I've got to ask about your goaltender. She is back with Sky Hughes, and she returns, and she pretty much played in net for you last year, right?
correct. Yep, she played the majority of all of her games. Sky is a big goalie. She's, we worked on her footwork a lot, and she had a great off season. She went up to the USA Hockey and did the HP High Performance Program, where you kind of
That's cool.
take all the kids your age class in Minnesota and work together. And she, through the process, she ended up making the final 54s. So she was in the top 4 goalies in her age class, that finished in that program. So
Sure.
she's made leaps and bounds, and I think a lot of it was when you're kind of a newer kid, there's that mental side of things. You kind of not new in the locker room, new to people around you, a little quiet. This year, she's very talkative, enjoying herself, fits right in, and you can see that same confidence carry over on the ice. So she's going to be a tough kid to beat, and we foresee her stealing some games for us this year. So
Yeah, good. And she last year, only 42 goals allowed, a save percentage of .915, pretty solid, and
Very
14
solid.
saves on Tuesday. So, is Kennedy hurt, or is she back for you?
yeah, she's back. She's out for the first 2 weeks. She's been dinged up. She'll be looked okay today in practice, so she's practicing. We're not gonna give her the green light yet on Friday. We'll have her going Tuesday. So the schedule for Kennedy will be we'll move her back up in the top 2 lines in practice on Monday, preparing for Tuesday's game, and then hopefully get her back in that starting role. Tuesday will be first full game for her. So
Now, for me, being an outsider, obviously, in my first year at Casa Mayorville, Dodge County, where are all these girls coming from then? Where are you pulling all this talent from?
majority of our kids are right here in our backyard, Casa Manorville. Byron would be the second biggest school. They have a portion. I think we've got about 7 girls from Byron. This year we have 3 girls from Pine Island. Zambrota Mazeppa's in our co-op, but we have no players from up there. Hayfield, we have 1 player from. Blooming Prairies in the co-op, we have 0 players from. So again, if you break, and Triton, 2 or
Okay.
3. But if you break it down, you'll see a majority of our entire roster of basically 37 are, the big core is from right here in Casa Manorville.
Okay. Yeah. And talk about some of your leaders then. We've hit a couple of girls. Who are
Yeah.
some of these big leaders you got in the locker room?
Yeah, and the other 2 big guns, I'd say, are the 2 Schubert twins, Kayla and Malia Schubert, very good multiple sport athletes, here in the school district, great students, great kids. One's a forward, one's a D, so it's nice so they don't think, kind of compete with each other for playing time or position-wise. And
And fight in practice.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just big-time players. Last night, for example, we felt that you can never, fault the officiating as a person's choice, but there are some, calls that we wouldn't agree with as a team. So even the players are a little frustrated, but we just said, take it in your own hands, guys. And yeah, we may be shorthanded, but just go down and bury it and put them away. And Kayla just did that, same that she's a big-time athlete, kind of got challenged and, was a little upset with the officials' calls, and so she took it upon herself, shorthanded and coast to coast, and buried it and went up 4-2. And
Dang.
so that's big time play. So big situation, big player execution, and and Malia's our top line center on the ice, and she's consistently very good in the penalty kill. Towards the end of the game, they gave us another penalty, and I think the 2 minutes they spent the whole time killing the penalty was in their end, and it's one of those things we'll use tomorrow in game film to show just the hustle Malia had and the effort, and they couldn't break out of their own zone. So it's just those 2 are going to give big roles for us. They're captains as well with Kennedy, so there's our 3 C's. One of our other goalies, Annabelle Smith, is our backup goalie. She's a senior. She's been there and she's started before as well. Great kid, great leader off the ice in the locker room. She's more of a calmer kid, 4-0 type student. Gets all the kids in the locker room kind of straightened out and use the quiet presence, but being a senior has that that strong silence about her. But the kids do a lot of following. Elizabeth Fagerland's also an alternate captain, so we foresee a lot of big things coming from her. And then future juniors, Anna Braun and McKenna Ferrickson we'll see them having big years and continuing into the senior year next year. So
Excellent. Yeah, and that's nice that you're already building too. You're trying to have those building blocks for next season. Well, let's talk about Friday. You go up against Mound Westonka. Is that how I say that?
correct.
And they started 2-0, I believe, is their record. So tell me about your opponent on Friday night.
Mound's a good team. They've got a lot of kids that can put the puck in the net. I think they're ranked 4th in Class A right now. It's again polls are polls.
Right.
Coaches come up with some things, and hope they have. But they are 2-0 for a reason. I mean, they've handily beat both opponents. They can put the puck to the net. They've had good goaltending, so they're, kind of coming this game. They'll be, a strong team. One thing we'll have for advantage, we'll use the last change. It's our home ice. Our disadvantage will be, the depth. I think going in this game will be obviously those short bench, but we'll come in prepared. Kids play hard every week, and they take a lot of pride. And our home record is always pretty solid. So it's, I'd say I wouldn't want to come play at our ice too often. Our kids kind of have a little extra step in there, going on to the ice there. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming up on Friday and seeing the facility. I haven't even been over there yet, and I know we're going to go back to back with you guys because girls hockey plays again on Tuesday. So I got to ask a little bit about them too. I know you play North St. Paul Tartan is your opponent, and last year you guys played them too. I know lost 2-0, I believe, was the tally last year. So talk about that team then coming up on Tuesday.
yeah, I mean they're a solid team. They beat us last year 1-0 and then empty net goal, make it 2-0 at the end of the game. We would love to have that game back. I think we all played those guys. We didn't came in a little flat early in the season, bus trip.
Right.
But it's one of those numbers that we'll pull the old film out on Monday and show that couple of clips just for that motivational thing about kind of coming in and playing that same way. And these kids respond pretty well. They take that stuff in pride and start coming back and remember that game, and give them a little ammunition to go after them and really play hard. So they come out of the shoots fast and kind of like a revenge type game. To definitely get that one back. So.
Yeah, I can understand that. You get a little motivation, especially after last year. How about for you, Coach? I mean, you said 14 years as the head coach. I'm not going to ask you your full background or anything like that. I'm sure you've had hockey in your veins for a very, very long time. What keeps bringing you back, though, Coach? I mean, 14 years, that's a long time to be a head coach.
Yeah, it's a long time. I mean, I obviously coached because to start with, my daughters played. I had two daughters come all the way through the system. One that played at the Division I level. My youngest, she's now a sophomore at Winona State. The goal and plan was to hang it up. When my youngest kind of hung it up, what was the plan of action? We talked to a lot of families that talked about the process and kind of had a lot of these kids since they were very young.
Sure.
And you build good relationships with the kids, the parents, the community, and so it's been one of those. I enjoy doing it. I suppose once it becomes a lot more work, and it's not as fun as it is. That portion, that's time to move on, but. Right now, I think we have a great staff around. We've learned to delegate well with the people we have with us. We've got a lot of parents even on our coaching staff, and it's kind of I take it day for day. And obviously, it might be this year, next year, who knows? But it's it's been a fun ride, and it's just been enjoyable again seeing these kids grow. And today we had St. Cloud State here at our ice arena, and Dana Rasmussen's a senior for St. Cloud State, and to know that you've coached her since she was 5 years old, and that family and the ties you've had with those guys is pretty cool. So. That's one thing about coaching is you get a chance to influence these kids not only on ice wise, but decisions in their life between skill sets and seeing them now as adults out in the community and jobs and be successful and what they've learned from hockey to see how they've turned that into great people just out in our community now. And I hear a lot of employers talk about our kids and their work ethic and stuff that we can build into them, and I take a little bit of pride in that. It's pretty good to hear. So
yeah, you should take a great pride in that. 14 years again. I mean, that's a long time, and we know how plans change, Coach. I understand that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get out, you get pulled back in. So I'm looking forward to the season. I'm certainly excited. It'll be the first time I get to cover some high school hockey since I've been down in Iowa for so long. So I'm looking forward to it, Coach. Thank you very much for joining me today, and we'll be doing this periodically throughout the season.
Sounds great. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you bet. That's Jeremy Gunderson, then head coach for Dodge County Girls Hockey. Again, we want to thank KM Telecom for being our major sponsor for all interviews, as well as providing our internet here on KM Activities, your home for the Comets. Thanks for tuning in.